Welcome to Get Moving TV. I'm Dr. Chris Landon and I serve as your host. Ventura Adult Continuing Education is a remarkable place. You drive by it every day on the freeway. You look at that little red sign showing, gosh, 93, 96, 99% of our graduates have jobs now. What happens inside here, as part of what you see, is the training that they get in terms of TV studio, but they're also getting the ability to put together brochures, getting ready for that digital world out there. All the Facebooking and social media in the world, it's just part of what we are now. With me today is Steve Thompson, who's assistant principal here. And I really wanted to get across the gigantic impact. It seems like this is just one place, but it impacts all of Ventura County. We're going to talk about some of the projects that are outside of this building, in addition to what happens with our TV or medical assistant program. We'll talk later about the CAD/CAM and 3D printing, the Ventura Innovates. So Steve, how did you end up here in Ventura, besides the sail, or including the sailing if you want?
Oh, how did I end up in Ventura?
Yes.
Well, what can I say? It was a California girl.
Yes.
As you probably guessed, I'm not a native Californian, but it was a California girl that I met overseas who happened to invite me over to tell me to, well, actually what she said was, California's got everything that you love. It's got surf, it's got sailing, it's got diving. The only thing she didn't mention is that the water is definitely chilly.
It is chilly. Well, and it has her, which I think
has her, which kept me warm. Keeps me warm, I should say. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I came to California, and I discovered adult ed by accident. In a way, I had come 360 because I started off as a young man as an EFL teacher. In other words, teaching English as a foreign language because I wanted to travel. And I did that and wound up spending 25 years in the oil industry, mainly in the Middle East. And then when I came to California, I was looking at how am I going to support myself. I tried as a professional diving instructor for a while, but that's a cold way to make a living. And then I can't exactly remember how I found it, but I found out that there were ESL classes for immigrant students here, and I became a substitute ESL teacher. And the rest is history. I've been here now with VACE approximately 14, 15 years. It doesn't seem that long, but people keep reminding me it must be. I go back to the age of my daughter to try and figure out how long I've been in California when people ask me. So yeah, 15 years I've been here. And you're right. VACE serves the whole of Ventura County in one way or another. We're actually part of a consortium of adult education schools so that we don't duplicate effort and so the areas don't get missed out. But for the services that we offer, students come to us from all over Ventura County and, in fact, from Santa Barbara County as well. I have to say that. So,
I may have misspoke earlier. So is it community education or continuing education?
Well, okay, there's two things, adult education and continuing education. Mm-hmm. So adult education basically covers everything that we need to pursue if we never finished our high school diploma, high school career. And continuing education is those who are continuing K-12, but also those who come back to from the workforce to continue education in one form or another.
So what kind of services should that be, the GRE?
Okay, so everyone's aware of VACE's career technical education programs because they're kind of high-tech and sexy like this one. But actually, we serve a lot more students outside career technical education. We serve approximately 500 students a year learning English as a second language, and over 1,000 students a year who come to us to get their high school diploma or high school equivalency, what used to be called the GED. So,
and is there a technological approach now to this English as a second language?
Absolutely. Well, all of our programs, our adult basic and our adult secondary education and our ESL programs all have their curriculum online. We were one of the first schools in California, adult schools, to adopt a full-time online curriculum. In other words, there's no textbook. The software doesn't replace the teacher, it replaces the textbook. And so it's a blended learning model where they spend 2/3 of the lesson in a conventional ESL lesson being taught by the teacher, interacting through the smartboard, and then they practice the skills on laptops that rotate from classroom to classroom. And similarly, our adult basic and adult secondary education is all online curriculum as well.
And how would people sign up for this if they wanted to come back and finish their education?
All they got to do is come to the door. We have registration every week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And then we do orientation and test sessions to figure out what your level is and where you're going to start. We do that a couple of times a week. And ESL classes start a new session approximately every 9 or 10 weeks. The other programs, adult basic education, your high school diploma, your high school equivalency, it's open entry. You can start any day of the week. So what I'd say is, if you or anyone that you know needs more education, just come on down and we'll serve you.
And financial assistance, when they meet with you, do you go over some of the options there?
Actually, adult education in California is free, with the exception of career technical education because of the costs involved. But we are paid by the state, and also in terms of supplementary funding, also by the federal government through Workforce Investment Act funding. So all the programs are free of charges to all students except those career technical education programs. So English as a second language, adult basic education, high school diploma, high school equivalency, there's no charge. Of course, to take the actual high school equivalency exams, there's a charge because those are companies who are running them. It's either GED or HiSET that you pay to do those, but we don't charge for those.
And is there what's the oldest person who's come back and said, you know, I never finished high school?
Well, I would say currently now the oldest person we have in an ESL class is in her mid-70s. And we've had people get their high school diplomas over 60. And we have a couple right now working towards their high school equivalency. For some of them, it's not something that they need, it's something that they want. You know, it's something that never got finished. Plus, they enjoy the atmosphere, and for a lot of them, we get students who, I think they're students as much for social reasons as anything else, which is understandable. But our idea is that we are going to help them reach their goals. So we want to try and make people understand in our adult basic and adult secondary and ESL programs that this is the beginning. And we start to get them thinking, well, you're learning English, you're getting your high school diploma, why are you doing it? What are you doing it for? And often, the reason why they're doing it turns out to be so that they can come over here and do career technical education and then find that job that they're looking for. Or go straight to college, of course. So.
Well, how about, and then outside of these walls?
Yes, we run programs outside of these walls. We run ESL classes in a number of elementary schools in Ventura Unified School District and also outside Ventura School District. We also run programs for older adults at Ventura County Area Association of Aging and Ventura County Adult Center on the Avenue. Those are a program that your friend Suze Montgomery is very proud of. It's called Encore. The encore being that they're coming back again into the workforce. So basically the brief of adult education these days is get people employed. And so that's basically our mandate, is to help people become more employable. And in that way, we're serving older adults to do that. But I guess the jewel in the crown of our off-site programs, the one that people know us best for, I suppose, is our Todd Road Jail program. We have a partnership with the Sheriff's Department of Ventura County out at Todd Road to provide education and training in an effort to reduce recidivism. So we have the same sort of classes out there we have here. We have English as a second language, high school equivalency. We have a career technical education program over there. We have a food service and hospitality program that trains people how to become cooks, line cooks, and so forth. We also have specific classes out there that are designed to address the issues that inmates face and the issues that got them there in the first place. Things like anger management, substance abuse, and in particular a program called RAP, Reentry Action Planning, which is sort of a cognitive restructuring exercise. It sounds a bit Orwellian, but really the idea is to get them to examine their decisions and how those decisions might not match up to their values in life, and hopefully they will make better decisions in the future. Again, that program is high tech. We were the first program, as far as we know, definitely in California, I don't know about further afield, to offer online curriculum in a correctional facility. We offer Burlington English, which is a very sophisticated online curriculum for our English as a second language students. And we also offer a high school equivalency. We run another program out there. Both of these are online. This is sort of the holy grail for the educational software vendors, because they see a huge population market there. But it's a hard market to get into because, of course, people working in corrections tend to be a little concerned about inmates having access to the internet. But with the forward thinking of the Sheriff's Department, we were able to persuade them that we could design a firewall that would be safe, and it has proved to be so. So not only now do we offer the English as second language and high school equivalency preparation curriculum, we're also the first, I'm boasting here, but the first in California and the second in the nation to offer CASAS literacy and numeracy testing in a correctional facility. CASAS being the tool that is used to measure the numeracy and literacy of all adult students when they come into a program, and again, once again, when they leave the program, to prove that we're actually doing our jobs.
And how is that working out? Again, let's have a success story.
Well,
I think the food service industry is...
The food service and hospitality program is turning out graduates. I think to date we've had 8 graduates from that program. We are producing high school equivalency. We're also, what we're trying to do is get the inmates there to identify themselves as VACE students and come to us when they leave. Because what we're trying to do is break that cycle that gets them back in there, because recidivism is running at like 90% in California. And so we're trying to break that cycle, so we try to get them to identify a student, say, please come to us, we will help you find your next step, whatever it is. And so those who haven't finished their high school equivalency, we're trying to get them to enroll. And I have to admit, it's a struggle. It's very hard for them to break that cycle. At first, we weren't getting any coming. Now they're starting to come. The thing now is to get them to stay until they graduate and hopefully get jobs. But we are starting to see our successes. So it's early days yet, and we look forward to be able to prove definitively that we are dropping the recidivism rate over time, but it's going to be a long process.
Well, and then here, so do you interact with the Office of Economic Development? How do you go about the job creation? Here in Ventura County, we do want people working, want a thriving economy, and we're working down in Cameron. We'll talk about this later with an innovation center.
You mean how do we VACE?
So what is it that VACE interacts with? Not necessarily that it's here, but who are you interfacing with? So we talked a little about SUS.
Right. Well, actually, our career technical education program interacts with all the employers in all the different program areas that we have. We have advisory committees that not only advise our curriculum, in fact, they approve the curriculum on an annual basis, but they're the ones who tell us what we need to be doing, and they're the ones who tell us what jobs there are that are needed. One of the advantages of adult education over our colleagues in the community colleges is that we are flexible. We can change courses, we can change programs very quickly. And also, we have a fast turnaround. Our students come in here and they can be out of here within a year and in a job. So we serve the population of Ventura County, and we can serve it as that population's needs change. And that's what we are trying to do. So our career technical education program does that, and so do our other programs. We actually serve the district, the Ventura Unified School District, in reducing the dropout rate there by providing credit recovery We serve, I think, I can't quote the exact number, but 400 or 500 students who otherwise were in danger of not graduating, do credit recovery with us, and then go on with their lives, hopefully to college, and hopefully some of them here.
What kind of skill, since you're interacting with the employers, I know when we met with one, they said, well, we really want to start in 4th and 5th grade.
This is true. The idea of the early starting is not so much that they are going to decide in 4th or 5th grade what they're going to do for the rest of their lives, but the idea is that you open opportunities for them and open that awareness for them. And so that as they go up, they are starting to think at an earlier age about what they might want to be doing. Because I don't know about yourself, but I had no idea what I was going to do even after I finished university. So the earlier we get people starting thinking like that, the better it is. In terms of the skills in modern education really are that what we have to do is develop people with critical thinking, problem-solving skills, because we are actually educating them for jobs that are changing so fast that we don't really know what these jobs are going to be by the time they get into the workforce. So we have to produce more rounded students who are capable of continuing to learn as they go on through life.
We've been talking we have projects with Sierra Lindell Elementary School, and the children are choosing apps on health and fitness, and they're curating them. I mean, so we don't have librarians so much anymore, although the librarians seem to have 3D printers, and they're almost turning into places where you can make things because so much of it is online. So even a librarian's job seems to have changed, but it's all about STEM, the science and technology and engineering and mathematics, and then we keep trying to put the A in the arts, so trying to turn it into STEAM. So how do you approach STEM for adults? Because you have to know mathematics before you can get into science and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we have what we call our adult basic, our adult secondary education program. Before any student can start with our career technical education program, they have to have that high school diploma or high school equivalency under their belts. And the educational standards of California now are such that we are adopting college and career readiness standards that do provide them with those skills. And over there in our high school diploma and high school equivalency program, we are teaching them, not only are they getting those credits that they need, but they are hopefully acquiring those skills that they need as well, especially in high school equivalency because it's a very competency-based exam as opposed to garnering credits. So we know when they come out of there, yes, they can do math, yes, they can do a certain level of algebra and so forth, and yes, they will be able to apply those skills. And that's really what it is teaching people skills that they are going to be able to apply in ways that we can't imagine right now. So.
And what do you see in the future? You see virtual reality training? What's coming up over the hill?
I hope not, because we need those teachers. I know, but I see that we have the online curriculum. I think the online curriculum is going to become more and more sophisticated. I see that people will be doing a lot more learning outside the classroom. Not to say that there's not a role for a teacher, but there's a lot of learning that you can do outside the classroom. Then you come to the classroom, to your teachers, to your colleagues, and that's where you learn to apply it. And that's the way we would like to go. For example, with our English as a Second Language program, in an ideal world, none of them would be using computers to practice during the lesson, because they could all be doing that at home if they all had internet access. And the teacher would devote all their time to doing those direct instruction lessons and the interaction between the students and the adults, and the teachers rather. And then they could go home and do all that practice. We're not quite there yet. A, because not everybody has internet access, and B, because not every student has that kind of discipline, frankly. And it's the same with our adult secondary education program. Ours is primarily seat-based, but we encourage the students as much as possible to study on their own. We now have what we call a Google Classroom, where the students log into the classroom, and within that classroom they are accessing on different online possibilities, curriculum offerings that the teacher has basically placed inside the Google Classroom, and it enables us to track what they're doing when they're in that Google Classroom. So that in itself means, well, why would the students have to be at the school at all? And of course they don't for that, but they do in order to interact with each other and to interact with their teachers.
Yeah, I think that's the key. There's a human for that. When we've done research and just done Bluetooth and, gee, I can tell you're not taking your medication, once I get a human in there helping you through that cognitive behavioral therapy they need to change whatever's going on to adhere to medication, there's still a human for that in there somewhere.
Oh, there's always going to be a human there somewhere.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for your dedication.
You're welcome. I thank you for the opportunity.
14 years here and the advantage that we have. So, Ventura, we're going to talk a little bit about innovation, but it's time for you to get moving to VACE, and hopefully not through Todd Road Jail, but if you're there, come on out. It's time to get to work. Welcome back, Ventura. I'm Dr. Landon. I'm here today with Dennis from our great CAD/CAM department. But beyond CAD/CAM, well, you're really, with VC Innovates, you're really sitting there at the future. I remember, the Sheriff's Department asking for a model of that horrendous murder at Furia Beach because everyone would throw up when they had to go visit it. And it was pretty primitive, but although it's still there, unlike any other model made, what kind of things are happening with VC Innovates now?
Well, VC Innovates is a consortium, and what it's doing is we're trying to align pathways of education between elementary school, junior high school, CTE programs or continuing education, or college, and get them started younger at their desired pathway. Now that's going to change. We know that not everybody knows what they're going to want to do when they're young, but we can give them the experience of getting out there and having these externships and mentorships with different companies outside of the classroom, and bring those things back into the classroom to get that education that they truly need. VC Innovates has been wonderful with some grants. We've been able to buy some 3D printers, 2 of them actually. We've always had 1 or 2, and they've been very generous in getting us a couple more. So we're doing a lot more for the community with those, and it's allowing us to reach out a lot more and do beneficial education to the junior highs and elementary schools. They come in and have tours, and we show them what it's about, and those are quite often the students we'll see in a couple of years. It's amazing. Well,
I'm a regular visitor, of course, so we've done everything from Iron Giant making a hand, which is the Iron Giant is about waist up, with a really nice mold, and that hand just fits right in. To I've made a Pez dispenser for dispensing enzymes. And I just had a young woman the other day, didn't want to take enzymes for her pancreatic insufficiency, didn't want to open the bottle up because, so she's at home with the ones we made, and she's glittering them up so that it's something fun, something social. And so being able to bring that kind of project to you. And then, we printed up a gigantic template for a car that I'm building, the cycle cart that I'm building. So what kinds of fun projects are you working on? Can you scan things now?
We have a 3D scanner, and we can scan anything from this studio, realistically, to a dime. It doesn't matter about the size. And what that does is puts a digital mesh or 3D map on a computer that we can apply materials to, or colors, or whatever we want to print that off and have it in a 3D model. It goes to many different areas. When you can scan something, you can actually take a person's physical deformities or whatever and help make a device or a prosthetic that would fit them only, a custom device. And that isn't possible in a normal world. We're trying to make an off-the-shelf device maybe fit somebody that's a little peculiar, and it's very painful for them. So we can fix that too. It's endless. Basically, what 3D printing and scanning allows us to do is whatever your imagination will allow you to do.
What are you talking about? You did a Mount Rushmore of the
Teachers' heads, crazy little fun items that help keeps the students' energy flowing. And something that's fun is a little better than something that isn't fun, so we try to push them in that area. But what they're doing is, VACE Innovates is allowing many people to get an idea and not maybe one pathway, but many pathways to many multiple-sided career or careers. It's all up to them. And I think that the partnership is really working. It's been a little slow, but it's hard to get curriculums from colleges and high schools together on the same page and everybody happy with it. So, you know.
Well, we talk a lot about an arc. Steve and I were talking about that, just the arc of someone's career and how things change. And so really you give them the ability to bend that arc into something else.
Well, engineering and manufacturing is consistently changing. It's no way what it was 10 years ago, and it's not going to be what it is in 10 years from today.
So are you able to print some new kinds of materials with these new 3D
yes,
printers?
The new printers are allowing us to print many different kinds of materials, and not just an ABS polyplastic, but it allows us a PLA, which are thermodynamic properties in several of these. So we can print they have a new material that's like a rubber, so there's a soft rubber bouncy material on top of something to keep it from breaking perhaps when it falls. And these materials include metal, it includes wood, and believe it or not, they are starting to print skin and organs with 3D printers out of stem cells. So in the next 5 years, you're going to see some pretty exciting things.
Well, Dennis, thank you so much. Ventura, you've heard a lot about what continuing and community education is all about. You really need to come by, take a tour, think about some goal that you have. Take a look at what the future is, because Ventura, VC really does innovate here, and that includes agricultural tech, medical tech, as well as all the engineering and everything else that happens here. So Ventura, really, it's time for you to get moving.